Welcome to Pixelated Realms, your guide through the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Salerno, and usually alongside me is my brother Tyler, but today he's out. So we have a special guest, Dustin Wynn. How's it going, Dustin?
Hey, how's it going? It's kind of interesting. I feel like I'm the replacement, like on like ESPN when like Stephen A. Smith has to, go take a shit or something, and I'm like taking this spot.
Right. Cycle you in. You're off the bench. You're in the
Yeah,
big leagues now.
exactly. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I've been waiting for this opportunity for a few weeks, so I'm not gonna let you down, coach. It's gonna be all good.
Yeah. Yeah, so, why don't you get us started? Well, actually, let me do a little housekeeping because I figure if I ask you a few questions, we're gonna go off the deep end. But, so real quick housekeeping. So, I just wanted to make a correction from last episode that, I think I said that release our episodes every Tuesday. That was a mistake. It's every other Tuesday, so it's skips a week. So I apologize for that. So anybody who was listening is really confused about that. That was a mistake on my part. And two, nope, that was it. All right, so let's go ahead and dive back in. Then my question was, so
Why are you guys such lazy fucks and not doing a weekly podcast? I don't know, and that's something you guys gotta ask yourself.
I mean, the answer was in the question. It's because we're lazy. You
It's like,
answered it.
I have a 11th month old. Like, give me a fucking break.
Dude, I at work, I literally take like naps in my hands because I'm like so tired all the time. So this is like the best we can do and still keep our quality of content somewhat above board. Otherwise, we're gonna be grasping at like straws here.
Yeah, I'm
So
totally in game, by the way. So I don't know what's going on, but it didn't boot me. I'm in Sea of Thieves,
oh,
so try to join my crew.
okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try for it. So we're trying something for the first time. We're gonna do a little co-op play while we talk. CCs did not. Nope. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and you
hopefully
guys let us know if you want us to do this and are uploading onto YouTube so you can watch our gameplay and hear us talk.
that's not a bad idea. So yeah, feedback is highly appreciated. As long as let's see, hopefully it doesn't get too much in the way. So what I meant to ask was like, tell us about yourself a little bit. You actually have worked in the gaming industry, so like, tell us about that. Tell us your history. Tell us everything.
Yeah, if you guys can't tell by me giving Alex a little bit of shit, I actually, yeah, I do public relations in the gaming industry. I've been in about 10 years. Helped launch some really big games, Battlefields, Battlefronts. If you don't like them, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, so worked for EA there for about 6 years. Helped launch some Warner Brothers games, Back for Blood, Callisto Protocol. Just kind of been all over the place, working in games on the agency side, doing public relations. So yeah, like I said, I hope you guys have enjoyed the games I've helped promote it. If you don't, I don't care. But yeah, that's me.
Raw opinion right there. So what's the future for you looking like? What's going on then? Like, what's the plans?
Yeah, so me and my former colleague, we worked at an agency together. Really did some great things with Bungie on Destiny 2. Got some really cool articles on Wired and stuff. Him and I actually decided to kick off our own PR agency. So we've just launched that this month, reaching out to some people that we know through our networks, trying to get our first couple clients signed, get things off the ground. But yeah, it's kind of, I really love this line from Armageddon. Uh, Owen Wilson, before he dies, says that he's got that excited, scared feeling where he can't decide if he's 85% scared and 15% excited, or 50% excited, or it's, you know,
The reverse.
vice. Yeah, the reverse. And so I'm kind of in that state of mind where I'm like, I'm scared but excited. I can't figure out which one is more. Obviously, I want money, so hopefully, we get some clients pretty quickly, and I think we have a great product to offer. Him and I both bring more than 10 years experience to the field. We're both VP level people who, yeah, have been doing this for a long time. So, a lot of these gaming companies, especially the smaller ones that don't have huge budgets, go to these big agencies who are filled with people who don't care about video games, aren't passionate about the community, and they pay a lot of money. I mean, like my last agency was paying $20,000 a month minimum per month. So just an astronomical amount of money that for small indie games, especially, they just don't have that kind of money to throw at PR, especially when it's so difficult to get game coverage and not see high ROI. So Sean and I, we want to basically come together and create an opportunity for these smaller indies or really any company that's looking for expert level experience that these agencies have hired us to provide in the past at now at a much more affordable price that will allow them to be able to tell their stories to their communities and get their name out there and get the coverage they deserve without having to break their budgets to do so. So yeah, check us out. We're right now we have this really terrible name called that new PR agency. You can check us out at thatnewpragency.com. But we're coming up with a new name. We're gonna hoping to have it finalized here the next week or two. But that's where we're at now. So yeah,
Nice. I didn't know you guys had a website. That's pretty cool.
yeah, my photo's on it. How cool is that?
So official.
I know it's like being in a TV commercial. I'm like somewhat famous now. I'm on the internet.
It's more like you're the billboard with like the lawyers that you see on the highway. That's like, you know,
I know, dude. I'm
here
that
to
guy going down the fucking God, the 60. It's like his name's like James Wang, and he's like, call me if you need lawyer help. And like his shit like went really viral for whatever reason. And I always see his stuff going on the 60 through Roland Heights area, and I'm like, one of these days I'm gonna call James Wang up and be like, I need some law help.
hopefully not.
Yeah, for the right reasons, right? I'm gonna be suing someone for lots of money. I'm not gonna be getting sued for lots of money, so it's all good.
Yeah, right.
We only have certain opportunities in our life, 2 or 3 times, where we have the opportunity to sue someone and make money, that can change your life. So, listeners, when that time approaches, don't drop the ball. Get out there, do the American dream, get some money by suing someone else, spill some coffee on yourself at McDonald's, say it's their fault, it was too hot, boom, 40 million bucks, you retire. Do it.
Done deal. It is the new American dream. It
It
really.
is, dude. I mean, honestly, for 99.9% of us, it's the only way to get the American dream, right? Of what we envisioned as a child, because everything's so fucking expensive.
Seriously.
But yeah, what are we doing here? What are we gonna do as a quest? Are we gonna? Is the
Oh,
next portion of the thing available?
that I don't know. Sea of Thieves recently just released the Legend of Monkey Island, and they've been dripping out the chapters in the game, and we've been playing it. So we're trying to see right now if third chapter. I see 3 books, so that means I think yes. So you got to come in. You got to come and accept the quest.
And when
But
we say drip, we literally mean like the slowest fucking drip, like that drip that like keeps you awake at night, and you're just terribly annoyed. This stuff has been coming out so slowly that it's just, like, agonizing 'cause,
that's like that's like Sea of Thieves' thing is to like slow drip content out. And because like I mean, how many hundreds of hours have we played in this game? Even though like we'll be like, oh, we're done with this game, and then they'll be like, hey, some new thing just came out, and you're like, now we gotta like jump in and play it and just mess around and just chat. Like honestly, we use this game mostly to chat than anything to actually. We barely even play the the game itself. We
yeah, if
just sort
you
of
are
like
looking for a game that, like, you can just hang out with your buddies and just, like, have something happening in the background, but, like, feel like you're really just kinda, like, chilling with the boys, like, you will not find a better game than Sea of Thieves. It's really low level of having to pay attention, like, you just sail around, kill skeletons, dig up buried treasure. Like, it's a really yeah, a low effort game, but it is really fun and it looks beautiful and we've enjoyed it.
yeah, we love this game. So looks like the third chapter did just release, which is cool. So I guess that brings me to the next section. And by the way, that's it's super cool that you're starting your own agency. Like that's awesome. So everyone should go check out his website and before that way so he doesn't have to create a billboard on the side of the freeway. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, save
Uh,
me money.
uh, Nintendo sent us free stuff. Um, uh, yeah. So what other than Sea of Thieves, what games are you playing right now?
I'm playing Be a Dad. It's
I feel that. I
a
feel that.
really dope simulator game
How do you
where all your money goes to children. Steer the ship. We're
I'm
gonna
not on
miss
the
the
boat. I
end
jumped off. I jumped off.
bit.
You're
um,
on your own. Uh,
what have I been playing? Been playing Remnant a little bit. Really beautiful game. Uh, a little bit easier than um, than like a Souls game. That's what I've been playing. I don't see my son's here. He's like, sign into Google, Dad. I'm trying to YouTube's. But yeah, actually, like thinking about that more recently, that's what I play on PC. But I honestly, like I said, I don't have the time to play too many PC games right now, unfortunately. Um, but but I've been playing PlayStation 5 games because I did buy a PlayStation 5, and Ghost of Tsushima is fucking awesome.
oh my
I
god.
just beat that game. It is fucking amazing. The combat is fantastic. Gorgeous. Like it makes me want to move to Japan, even though I know it doesn't look like that anymore.
I know, right?
but
I
um,
wish.
but no, it's just been it's an absolutely beautiful game, and it's super fun. And it's a good story. Um, so yeah, I've just been like rolling around after I beat it, just trying to plat it. Even though I'm not like me, I am not like a plat person. Like I don't give a
Right.
fuck about 100% in games. Like once I do the main story, like I'm good. I think like platting for the most part is for overachievers who have way too much time on their hands. Um, but this game has made me want to plat it because it's just been such a fun experience, and I don't want it to end. Um, so yeah, that's what I've been playing. Other than that, I beat Miles Morales last month. Also, fantastic game. I don't
Yeah.
Swinging around New York City as Spider-Man might be the most satisfying gameplay I've ever experienced in my life. It is really cool.
I think we'll talk about Spider-Man 2 in a little bit, but I heard people because they made the fast travel so good in the second one that they're saying like the fast travel literally is instant, but nobody's using it because they like to swing around the world so much.
Yeah, I mean, I heard that too, that now you can just like basically ping somewhere on the map and it will just teleport you there. Um, that's kind of a bummer for me. I personally thought that the subway transportation like system they had where like you looked like you were going on
Mhm.
the subway was like a really clever way of doing fast travel. Um, and then I saw in the new one you also have like basically Iron Man like flight capabilities. It looked like with your suit, so that'd be interesting. So yeah, I don't find myself too eager to just like fast travel as long as I'm within like 1,000 meters of where I'm going. And I think you just fell off the face of the earth.
I did.
Uh,
I'll have to rejoin. It's let me rejoin.
cool. Alex disconnected, which is very common. Uh, but yeah, like I don't find myself wanting to do that too much. Like I said, I've really enjoyed swinging around in the first game, especially like there's a little bit of a learning curve on swinging around, like where like if you're not doing it correctly, it can take a lot of time to get around. But once you kind of figure out how to like do it more efficiently, and then also utilize like boosting um, through different areas as well, then you can actually move pretty quickly through the city. So I only really found myself fast traveling if like I was in like the Harlem, and then I needed to go down to like Wall Street, like Battery Park, and like I'm like, okay, that's gonna take like 15 minutes of swinging. So I would just teleport. But yeah, like I said, if it was within like 1,000 meters, like for sure I was just swinging there.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that game so much. I can't wait to play Spider-Man 2. I have it downloaded already, but haven't played it. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. And then I'm glad you're like still kind of playing Remnant because that game I felt like was like so slept on. It was such a good game. We gotta pick that up a bit more. It's such a fun like co-op experience.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think that's like even though the Souls games I've played, like we've kind of like cheated and like I'll have someone like TP into my game, you know.
Mhm.
But I think I kind of like the Remnants co-op is like a little bit more like, hey, you should do this. Where like Souls is kind of like, it's more meant as like a solo player experience.
Yeah, I'm surprised they honestly even put co-op in that game sometimes. You know,
Yeah, because like
like
in that you have to like summon somebody through like yeah. By the way, I didn't read any of the quests, so I
oh,
have
me
no
neither.
fucking idea what we're
We're
doing.
we're going in blind.
All right, let's see here. Let's open the book. What's it say?
Yeah.
The
Also, Ghost of Tsushima is like probably one of the top 5 best games ever created, like ever. Cannot believe how perfectly amazing that game is. Like the combat is so crisp and clean. The world and the story is so amazing. I don't want to spoil it, even though the game is a little bit older. But there's that scene where you lose a particular person, I guess you could call it, that's been with you the whole game, and you're just like, oh my fucking god! Like it's so the
fuck
story.
'em, dude. When your horse dies, it's heartbreaking.
Oh no! It's so poor Nobu, man. I was like my
Oh,
heart.
that's what I named my horse too.
Uh,
I named my horse Nobu.
I was so sad. I was like,
Dude,
no, not Nobu.
I tweeted out after, like directly after. I was like, my horse just died in Ghost of Tsushima, and I have a lot of feelings about it.
Uh, like, there's not many games where like that a character has died in that I really felt like sad, like genuinely sad. There's times where I'm like, oh yeah, that's sad, but like you don't really feel it. I was like genuinely sad when the horse dies in that game. Like
Yeah,
it's
me too. I was a little torn up about it. I also guessed. I guess I won't spoil this one, but there's a certain person you meet later who, like, you're tracking this bad guy the whole game, and like you meet this person later on, who's like a random person in the game, and I was like, I think I know who this person is. Before I guess I kind of already spoiled it. Whatever. It's the person you're tracking. She pretends to be someone else, and then you find out afterwards that it was her, and she could have killed you, but she didn't. Um, but yeah, I was kind of like, oh, I was like, I bet you this is that fucking person right here, and then it was. I was like, yeah, yeah. But no, story is amazing. Amazing might be strong, but it's very good. Like for the type of game it is, which I wouldn't say it's like Soulsy, but like
it's an
like a
action. It's just
yeah.
it's a
It's a more like
like a God of War.
accessible like Sekiro from what I've heard like combat's like similar, better combat in Sekiro, better story in Ghost. Um but you know, like the combat like you said in Ghost is like the duels of the 5 that you
Oh
do
yeah.
is like I was sitting there getting so pissed on some of them. Some of the most difficult duels I actually did though, I don't know if you did it because it's kind of like just an extra quest. Is
I platinumed it as well. So
okay, so like you do like the fighting arena,
right,
and like each person has like that different style. You kind of have to figure out like what the weakness is.
right.
The
And then the one,
woman,
oh yeah.
the woman that you fight, like the second person, like I struggled with her for a long, like it took me like 15 attempts to beat her,
Oh
and like
yeah.
she was just like fucking me up too, like the first like 5 times. Like I didn't even get a hit on her. She's just like clowning on me because she could like parry everything, like
Right.
because she was so fast, and so like the normal like dodge counter like wasn't working with her. I forgot what the trick was, um, to overcome her, but the last person that they have you fight was actually the easiest for me because he does that big like swooping attack. And so as long as like you just basically instantly attack him when the round starts, you can hit him
Oh,
before
it break his charge up.
exactly. But if like he gets that charge off though, you're pretty much young fucked. Like, all right, let me see. I still haven't read this.
I don't know. I'm just dicking around on the island here. But yeah, I cannot. I'm pretty sure they're making a second one, and I cannot wait. I'm like so excited for it. Actually, we'll have to get Ralph on the show one of these times because I don't know if so a friend of ours uh was like a hardcore Ghost of Tsushima online player, and so like Ghost of Tsushima I also has a really, really amazing multiplayer co-op game. Uh,
Legends.
Legends, and like it honestly could have its own like standalone. It's that good. It's so good. And so he got really, really into that, and he ended up being like one of the like top like 1% Legends players to the point where he could solo all this like raid stuff. Um, and he ended up doing like a stream with the voice actor of the main character. So because like he got so into it and it was playing it so long. So we'll have to get him on here one time so nobody knows ghosts like he does.
I didn't know any of this stuff. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll have him on the show one time. We'll have him talk about it. But I hope they come out with a new one, and I also kind of hope they come out with a standalone Legends. Like I think that would be kind of a cool like because
Yeah,
while
there was something that just recently happened. Like I forgot. Like I think Summer Games Fest. People were like pretty surprised that they didn't announce the new Ghost game
oh
at Summer
yeah,
Games Fest. So we'll see.
I mean
I mean,
I think it's a smart decision to be honest because the problem with releasing a banger hit is that you got to follow up with a banger hit. And so they're probably like, "Hey, we have this like resounding success." If they're smart, they probably like they have this resounding success, which means we have a little bit of budget, which means we need to take our time on this one, and we can't announce too early because if you do, then you're gonna have all this hype, and then people are gonna be like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" for like 50 years. You know what I mean? So I think it's smart that they didn't.
well, one good thing too is that the gaming community is much more forgiving than it used to be in regards to if a game, if a developer is like, "Hey, we know you guys really want this, but we want to take our time to make sure it's good."
Mhm.
Um, and you're transparent about it, like the community like will be receptive. It's
Totally.
more upset if like you do what Cyberpunk did and you like way overpromise and oversell like where your game state of or the state of the game and what you're going to be offering, and then you unveil it and release a game and it's a shadow of what the expectation is that you set. And sure, a part of that also comes with like you said, release a banger, people want another banger. So when you're responsible for The Witcher, everything you do after that pretty much has the highest expectations,
Yeah.
right? So I think CD Projekt Red really was feeling that pressure, and like people knew that Cyberpunk was coming out for a long time. There was a lot of hype behind it. But frankly, the stuff that their communications team did in terms of like barring media from posting any of their own videos and the embargo stuff that they restricted for any reviews really was just like bad PR 101, things that I'd never in a million years recommend. And they got put through the ringer for it, for doing that. So, the backlash they got was well deserved. And hopefully they'll learn from it that that's not the right way to do shit. But, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, when you have those high expectations and, like a game's been in development for 8 fucking years or however long it was, a long ass time, and like people too tend to forget too, like the financial well-being of like hundreds if not thousands of people rest on like the success of a game. So
Yeah.
you know I understand why they would want people to be really excited and like maybe misrepresent things a little bit. um I was definitely working on a game, I can't say what game, um but I definitely worked on a game where even as the PR team working for that publisher, we were more or less lied to from the development team studio about how far along the game was. You know, we were told months before launch that this game is ready to launch now. We didn't find out that the game was basically in a completely broken state until a week before it came out. And by then, there was like nothing we could do to on the PR side. And it really like blindsided the publisher when that happened because they just, you you're gonna take your studio's what they're saying at face value,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you find out at your launch event that the game is unplayable. It's like, what do you do? You know,
yeah. You're
so
like finding it out in real time.
so all of you guys that look at those big publishers out there and get mad at them because you think that the studio got fucked, let me tell you that's not always the case.
Yeah,
The publishers sometimes get ran through it too by a studio and are sitting there holding the bag and frankly getting 99% of the backlash because those stories aren't talked about and can't be talked about. Like I said, I can't tell you guys who I'm talking about. But it was a really unique situation that was unfortunate.
yeah. It's funny because I think I know which one you're talking about, but um, I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna ask that as a question actually. Is like, how often does that happen? And where like you believe they lie to you and you don't realize that until it's too late. And it always comes down to like miscommunication, right? Because it's probably not even the person who reported it to like the publisher, right? It's like they're also getting lied to unless hopefully they're doing their due diligence and like looking at the actual product. But like, somebody at the bottom is like, shit, I don't want to get fired. So I'm going to tell them it's doing great. And then that person tells their boss and that person tells their boss and, so on and so forth until finally it gets to the top. And you're like, hey, everyone says it's doing great. And I haven't looked recently, so it must be doing great. And then, it comes out and you're like, oh, fuck. It's kind
Yeah,
of,
I mean, I don't think that scenario is possible, to be completely honest. Like there might be like small features that aren't quite far enough along on a game, that like one specific subset of developers are working on. But if a game is like in an unplayable state, like there's no way that like studio heads aren't well aware of that,
right. Or
or that
hopefully.
like the creative director and that like those guys are super hands on. They're really in the know of what's going on. And like I shouldn't say necessarily lied to because I only know what I was told from my contact. Um, but I don't know if they were communicating with other people. But I just know from what we were told at certain points in the campaign to what happened, it was positioned that this publisher wasn't really told exactly what was happening. Um, but yeah, I think that there's scenarios where like a creative director and then like like the director under them are like just being told by like some like entry level developer that like, oh yeah, this is great, and like they're like, okay, cool, it's great, and like they're left holding the bag. Like, no, I don't think that's possible. At least not in a broad scope of a whole game
The whole game,
being
yeah, maybe
broken.
like you said, like a small feature, but never like, yeah, they're gonna
Yeah.
be playing all the like nightly builds and stuff. I'm sure, making
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Like they're doing like they're play testing constantly. Like it's going through QA, all this stuff constantly. So, um, and especially now in a state of the community where like crunch is like, obviously as it should be like massively discouraged. I think that's why we're also seeing more and more games get delayed rather than rushed out broken.
Mhm.
Because crunch is not something that's really tolerated anymore. And again, like if you're transparent in what's happening with your game and you're open and honest with your community, they're much more receptive because we all want to play games that are great and like functioning and bug free. So if I have a game I really want to play and it takes a couple extra months to come out because it's not where it needs to be, like by all means, take all the time you need. I'll play when it comes out. Like, there's always a video game to play. It's kind of like, for everybody. I'm a huge sneakerhead. And I refuse to buy sneakers for aftermarket, hyped up speaker. I almost keep saying speakers because we're gaming. Sneakers, because there's always a dope pair of sneakers coming out. You miss one, you got another one coming out. And sure, I catch a lot of L's on sneakers on the Nike app. but I have like 10 pairs that I really love, and they're all like hyped up pairs that I bought for retail, and so it's the same thing with games, like there's always a video game to play, there's always something coming out. So yeah, you got to wait a couple extra months for like the game your most anticipated game, like, you know, you'll find something to find time to, fill your gaming void with. Just don't do World of Warcraft because that shit is like cocaine.
Yeah, right. You're gonna be all your money is gone, all your time is gone, everyone in your life has left you.
Yeah, it's like I told you, like, like for all of you guys who don't know, I was like a top 5 World of Warcraft, top 5 guild World of Warcraft back in vanilla. That was my like early 20s, basically was playing WoW every night for 6 to 8 hours. It was hardcore. I went back and played Classic with all those same buddies, and we all told ourselves that we were just going to play casually. And then, of course, we're sitting there hardcore raiding again because that's just the mentality we bring to that game. But we used to joke around with people when they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I just got my girlfriend World of Warcraft, so we can play together." We'd be like, "No,
It's a
don't do
trap.
it, don't do it. She's gonna get addicted. You're basically giving her drugs." So,
Uh,
oh, by the way, guys, all you guys out there who want to find a gamer chick, just be okay not finding a gamer girl. It's cool if you find a woman who likes playing video games with you. But also remember, it's not a bad thing to have things that you enjoy and that she can enjoy that don't have to always be the same things. Like it's cool if like gaming is your escape, so just throwing it out there because I know when I was in my early 20s, like I really wanted, like, I had crushes on girls I played World of Warcraft with. And it's not a bad thing if that works out for you, but don't feel like that's your only path to happiness in a relationship.
that got real personal real fast. Is that like you had some like life experience there?
Yeah, hey, when you find out that, you're the mistress in a relationship where the woman is married, it's a little interesting
Oh yeah,
finding
that's
out.
wow. This got real interesting real fast. I want to know more.
Hey, I'm not gonna pretend though. I totally knew that she was married. But but yeah. So hey, that's like your early 20s, desperate for love. But I play video games all day, Dustin, for
Right.
you.
That's hilarious.
Don't be me, everyone. Don't be
All
me.
right. The moral of the story is don't play Warcraft.
Yeah, exactly. Just stay away. Just stay away from Warcraft.
Don't do
Force them to
drugs.
come out with a new Warcraft game rather than just keep going back diving into the old one.
Yeah.
We have to teach Blizzard a lesson that they cannot just keep coming out with live service games. They need to go back to their roots, come out with new games regularly instead of expansions for games that are 15 years or more old.
Yeah, right. I mean, Bobby Kotick is leaving, so hopefully there's like some good coming out of this because so I mean this is a great segue. So we should talk about the Activision Microsoft merger and
Yeah.
and Bobby Kotick's going. He's gone. So
Yeah. So he's going to be leaving. But I will say, Blizzard's problems are not, uh, I don't think, stem from Bobby Kotick. Like, this has been happening with Blizzard before they were acquired. Really since like World of Warcraft. Because think about it, like World of Warcraft came out, they've just been doing expansions. Some are great, some are not so great. Hearthstone has been like an expansion machine. Um, Overwatch was like a money making loot box
yeah,
machine.
it was good,
And
but it did have the loot boxness that was
but
awesome.
what sucked about Overwatch is they promised this amazing single player
Oh
experience
yeah,
as part of Overwatch 2. And when the game took years longer than anticipated, right? And so they stopped creating new content for Overwatch 1 as soon as Overwatch 2 came out. So I think there was like 2+ years where we didn't get like a new hero or new map for Overwatch 1 because they were working on Overwatch 2. But hey, they still found the time to come out with new cosmetic loot box skins every event that they normally had. So I think this has been like a problem with them for quite a while. Um, I could pinpoint it more to when, like, Chris Metzen and the original Blizzard founders left. I'm totally blanking on the former CEO's name, who was there for a long time. Um, but, that group left. Am I supposed to do something with this?
No, I'm stuck. I actually can't move.
Oh, isn't there, like, an anti-stuck,
Is
thing in settings?
there? Oh, maybe like I kill myself. We'll come back to this because I like the
Um,
conversation. So yeah,
yeah.
I totally agree. Like I think that it has
Well, hold on.
been.
So what I was gonna say is Bobby Kotick is leaving, but Chris Metzen actually just came back to Blizzard to help with World of Warcraft. So
Uh,
I think that is a more exciting development for the future of Blizzard than Bobby Kotick leaving as Chris Metzen coming back.
I mean, I agree with that, and like I think though that it's just a good. So like it's a transition period in the life cycle of Blizzard, right? And if they're smart, they're going to jump on the opportunity to restructure and um, energize the developers and the engineers and the designers and everybody to like make change, right? This is when you can change a company, is when there's this big like upheaval. And so I'm really hoping that they use this opportunity to do that and to go back to the old Blizzard. Cause I mean, like, we haven't had like, do you remember when Warcraft 3 came out? Like, that was everyone was a buzz. That game was just like it was just amazing. Everything about it before and after it came out, and then everything since then. You're right. Like World of Warcraft kind of killed WoW because, or no, sorry, killed Blizzard because they were like they realized they could make more money off of the like live service games than they could off of like Warcraft 3 and stuff like that. They couldn't monetize them as well, but almost at the cost of I'm gonna call it quality, but you know what I mean, like the the well, how good each game is, and it just hasn't been the same. And I would really love to see them go back to their old Blizzard ways where they're like, hey, we are gonna spend time, we're gonna make a really cool, very unique, a very complete quadruple A game that everyone's gonna love. And we're not gonna be greedy about it, and we're not gonna have all these like awful PR fiascos that are easily avoided if they were to just look around the room for 2 minutes. It's like I
So
feel,
what Blizzard got really famous for, in my opinion, is they took an existing genre and they went out and created the absolute best game in that genre. Warcraft 3, best RTS, in my opinion, ever made. Like one of my top 5 games of all time. I was top 50 player in Warcraft 3 on the ladder when I was a teenager. Fucking love that game. They looked at MMOs, all these existing MMOs that were out there, and came out with World of Warcraft. Fucking smashed the competition, best in class. After they still, to this day, MMOs haven't been as popular in terms of coming out, like
yeah,
because for 10 years, every game was, is this the MMO that will kill WoW? And none of them did.
I know, right?
Nothing took down WoW to where at this point, publishers and developer studios just gave up. They're like, we're not gonna take World of Warcraft's audience. So like, why do we keep making these games trying to like piggyback off that success when like we're not gonna replicate it? So they did that. They went to the card genre. Boom, fucking Hearthstone. Best, like one of the best, if not the best, uh, you know, uh, CCG out there. Um, I absolutely despise the gold system in
Ooh,
terms of how you obtain legendary cards in
yeah,
that game. But the fact of the matter is, it is a fantastic card game. I think the first failure in that department was Heroes of the Storm. Like, I like HOTS, but it did not outclass League of Legends as much as they were hoping to. And we all know, like, well, for those of you who don't know, the founders of Riot actually went to Blizzard and tried to sell them League of Legends uh, as a game, and Blizzard pretty much laughed them out of the door. And so they started Riot and came out with League, and now have one of the most successful games on the planet. So if you're wondering why Warcraft 3, the newer one, sucks now. In terms of the free games, because Dota, Defense of the Ancients, old
Yep.
school, was created on the Blizzard BattleNet application by Ice Frog and those guys. And then Blizzard didn't have any way to say they own the IP. But when they came out with an updated version of Warcraft 3, they wrote into the terms of service agreement any game that is created on the battle and uploaded to battle.net is property of Blizzard, so that does not happen again. And it was like a once in a lifetime thing, but they covered themselves this time around. And they should have, instead of focusing so much on how not to get fucked, they should have actually just made workout the new they should have made Reforged good, but they took all the features that made the original Warcraft 3 amazing, like guilds and ranked ladder play and those things out of the game. And so just like this awful shell of itself. That's
Oh,
really unfortunate because the game looks amazing graphically, but it just they gutted it so bad that it just really unfortunate. But yeah, I'd say HOTS was the first failure of Blizzard's, and even though HOTS was a successful game, it didn't put them as the number one um, game in that genre. And then, Overwatch. I would say Overwatch didn't become the best FPS game. I don't think it ever meant to outshine
oh,
Battlefield or Call of Duty.
no, no.
But if you want to compare it to Team Fortress, games like that, I'd say it's best in class. Um, I just think it kind of took too long to come out with the content people really wanted. Um,
I would argue there's a lot of that content still missing. And I mean, they had like
yeah,
a
I mean they never came out with the single player content from my understanding. I haven't checked in
yeah,
like the last like year, but I don't think like the major promise that they made with Overwatch 2 X has come out at all still.
no, no, and that was the big like Overwatch 2. Like, I mean, they fumbled so hard with Overwatch 2, right? It's basically just a rebranding of Overwatch free, and they're like, well, we're gonna call it Overwatch 2. We're gonna change things like we're gonna tweak the parameters of everything like very slightly, add a couple new heroes and maybe a couple new maps, and call it a whole new game. It's like putting a fresh coat of paint on an old car and calling it new.
Yeah, and
And
it's funny because so many people get upset about like Battlefield and Call of Duty, like it's a reskin. It's a reskin of an existing game. Like you want to have the ultimate reskin? Fucking Overwatch 2. Let's take it from 5 players to 6 players to 5, add some new heroes, and put a 2 next to the name, and let's recharge everybody for it.
yeah,
Like, how do we get out of this thing? 'Cause let's just go sell around and look for people to like blow their ships up.
I told you I'm still stuck, but I'm gonna leave and come
Oh,
back. But yeah, I know they've fallen so hard. Like I was talking about this with actually my coworkers today, and I was like, it's like a lot game development intangibles, so like their reputation is so important, and it more important than I would say a lot of industries. Like if people hate Apple, either they're gonna buy it or not, but like Apple's still gonna be fine. In a game, in the game industry, like if people start to hate a game company, it's like viral, and it's like, oh, don't trust them anymore. Like they've lost trust. Like consumer trust will dictate whether or not something succeeds or fails. And while Blizzard has been hanging on to their past reputation and the fact that they have so much money that they can eventually make a game good, that but that like it's been keeping them afloat. But I feel like they gotta make a change eventually, or they're gonna lose out of that goodwill, and people are just gonna stop caring. I mean, World of Warcraft has honestly been holding them up for the last 10 years. If they didn't have World of Warcraft, Diablo 3, Diablo 4 wouldn't happen. Overwatch probably wouldn't happen. Here's the
well, we've
Storm.
talked about this before, like breaking down the math. Like if you think about the every World of Warcraft expansion that comes out, the game increases to, or it had been, I don't know, recently, but it had really like increased player base back to about 10 million people.
Yeah,
So if you just do the basic math of like 10 million people at $60 a pop, and then you think like everybody there, we'll say like at least pays for 1 month. But we'll say, you know, just for the fuck of it, like 3 month subscriptions at $15 a pop. Like let's just do the simple math here. 10 million times 60. Okay, so that's 600. I can't math, so I'm not an engineer like you. And then 15 times 15, or no, sorry, 15 times 3. So that's another $450 million. So you're right there, you're at just over $1 billion in revenue,
Right.
um, off of the launch of one expansion. Uh, so it's like, yeah, an expansion year for them. And that doesn't include, that's just for 3 months. We'll say like another 7 million to 5 to 7 million people play the whole year. So add another 9 months of, we'll just say 6 million people at $15 a pop. How much money that is. And then you're like, dude, like this game is grossing like over $1.5 billion. Like, this is not including character transfers, name changes, mounts that people are buying, anything like that. No in-game purchases, no, like I said, name changes, server transfers,
Mm.
anything
All
like
the
that.
microtransaction.
Yeah, zero microtransactions, and you're already at like over $1.5 billion in revenue from a
Yeah,
single fucking game on
that's
and
insane. That's
and they
insane.
expansion every other year. So even if you remove that like 10 million and like that 600 million, like you're still looking at World of Warcraft at a minimum $1 billion a year for Blizzard. On expansion season, $1.5 billion a year minimum. So yeah, that game, 100 fucking percent. Like props that studio up.
Mm.
I don't know if that shit justifies the crazy amount of money that Activision paid for Blizzard. Um, but yeah, they make a shit ton of money from World of Warcraft. Um, and then I'm sure they made a lot of money from Overwatch there for like 5 years. They probably still make good money. Not, I don't think anywhere near as much as they're making for WoW. But
I'd be interested to look that number up at some point.
and I would say that like Diablo, how many copies did Diablo sell? Off the top of your like roughly?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. Uh,
Let's see. Diablo 4 game sells.
look,
Looks
so
like they made. Oh, I don't know if this is true. They said $666 million in sales. Oh, that's when it passed in June 12th, passed 666 million in sales. So that was in June. So it's probably made, we'll say like 800 million in sales. Um, just to lowball it a little bit. Which honestly, that's more than I thought. Like I'm actually kind of surprised it made that much because it's a very like niche game.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so to actually make that much money, I don't know what that equates to in terms of like copies sold. That's what I was actually looking for, is how many copies they sold.
Oh, I don't know. I'd be interested to see all that, but we'll see like how this affects them going forward now that they're part of Microsoft. Like, is Microsoft? Do you think Microsoft is going to, like, is Phil Spencer going to come down and be like, "Hey, it's my world now," or do you think he's just going to let them be as they've been?
I think that they'll let them be. I think that, I'll be curious to see like I don't think that they bought Activision Blizzard or I mean, yeah. I don't think they bought them to like tell them what to do. I think they bought
Mm.
them to have a leg up in the exclusive war
Yeah,
with Sony.
with Call of
Uh,
Duty. Mm.
so yeah, I don't think that they're out there trying to like change these studios. Like maybe culturally, they want to like implement some stuff. I think Blizzard has already been trying to do that since all that stuff
Yeah,
happened, like what,
yeah,
last year or the year before. Um, you know, uh, I don't know for sure, but I imagine that they've been trying to change the culture at Blizzard. I think that's also why you see people like a Chris Metzen coming back. Although, to be completely frank, like I'm not gonna act like I know that this stuff didn't happen or start when those guys were there. I have no idea.
Right.
Maybe like Chris Metzen and the original OGs of Blizzard left behind a culture that had women crawling under desks and like through the office and like maze races. I have no
Yeah.
fucking idea. But, we know for a fact that that was happening after they were gone. When it started, who knows? Um, but hopefully it didn't wasn't happening under those guys' watch, and some of them coming back will kind of get, again, like what you said, Blizzard back to what it used to be,
Yeah.
which was really, like, in my opinion, like a company that cared about its community, had a very
Totally.
strong, a loyal community who supported them, and Blizzard rewarded that community by creating great games.
Yep. I agree. And I think that's a great place to take a pause. We're a little over our time now. So I think this is going to warrant a follow up conversation at some point, maybe in like a month or two, and we can kind of see what's happened so far and we can kind of talk about it. So, do you have any closing words before we move on?
No, just thanks for having me. I hope you guys enjoyed what I had to share, and look forward to jumping on again.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah. And we'll certainly have you back on this podcast. There's no doubt about it. So, for everyone who enjoyed today's podcast, just know that we will bring Dustin back for sure, if not pretty regularly. So, thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be notified when we post new episodes. You can also find us on social media at Pixelated Realms or Pixelated Realms Podcasts. So, thank you very much.